My wife slapped me and said she wanted a divorce, not because I was bad in bed, but because she believed I'd never amount to anything in this lifetime. That night she slammed the bills onto the table and said, "We've been married 5 years and this is all you make?" I didn't argue, I didn't explain, I just quietly closed my laptop. Because she would never know my real plan had nothing to do with that bill. She started venting to her friends saying I had no ambition, no drive, that I didn't look like a man who would ever get rich. She even compared me to her ex. And me, I kept going to bed early, waking up early, wearing the most ordinary clothes, quietly moving money into places no one ever noticed. Until one day she suddenly realized something had changed. We had choices we never had before. Not because I got promoted, not because I struck it rich overnight, but because I learned how to slowly pull ahead, silently, patiently, without anyone seeing it coming. Most people think wealth starts when your income gets big. It usually doesn't, it starts much earlier, in a place that feels too boring to matter. The gap between what hits your account and what leaves it. That's the lie almost everyone is living inside. We've been taught to read financial success through visible signals: the nicer car in the driveway, the upgraded apartment, the dinners, the trips, the constant little proofs, the proofs that say I'm doing better now. But those signals are often not evidence of wealth, they're evidence of spending power, and that is not financial strength. Look closely at the people who actually build lasting money. In many cases, they do not look rich at all. They make absolutely no loud purchases. And no, living below your means is not punishment. It's not a gray, joyless life where you deny yourself everything. It is a deliberate filter. It's looking at a purchase and asking one hard question: does this add real value, or just help me look upgraded for 5 minutes? The uncomfortable truth is that most people don't have an income problem first, they have a sequencing problem. They spend, then hope to save what's left. Usually nothing meaningful is left. Take one extra dollar. If it goes into an asset, it has a chance to come back with friends. A stock can pay dividends, savings can throw off interest, a rental can send cash in every month, a small side business can keep earning after your workday ends. Now flip it, put that same dollar into a liability. An expensive car doesn't pay you. Luxury purchases don't pay you, most status items don't pay you. That's why silent millionaires don't rely on one paycheck and call it security. One paycheck is not security, it's concentration risk. If one income stream gets interrupted, the whole machine shakes. Multiple income streams change that equation, and this is also why they stay low profile, not for aesthetics, but for defense. The moment your lifestyle becomes your identity, your spending starts serving the audience, not your future. Blend in and you remove the social tax of looking rich. No pressure to upgrade the car, the watch, the dinner spot, or the vacation, just because other people are watching. Frugality matters here too, but not the cartoon version. It's not about being cheap, it's about being precise. Silent wealth buys quality when it lasts, and cuts waste when it doesn't. It asks one hard question before every purchase: does this hold value, create value, or just create another payment? Here is where the split becomes uncomfortable. Because the system does not reward effort first, it rewards position. Two people can earn the same paycheck, work the same hours, and feel equally responsible for their lives. Yet one is slowly moving upward while the other is feeding the machine. Why? Because one learns how to keep ownership over cash flow, and the other keeps surrendering slices of it to taxes and bad deals, to poor guidance and expensive impatience. Look at taxes. Most people treat them like the weather, unavoidable, vague, and not worth understanding. Quiet wealth builders do the exact opposite. They know every dollar that leaves the account is a worker they no longer control. So they use retirement accounts, tax-advantaged accounts, deductions and credits, legal structures that keep more money inside their own balance sheet. Then there is access. People say networking like it means collecting business cards or smiling at events, but it really does not. In practice, a real network is a private bridge to better decisions. A mentor warns you off a bad deal before you sign. An advisor spots a tax mistake before filing season. A peer mentions an opportunity that never appears in public. The average person is not always losing because they are lazy, and then patience enters, which sounds harmless until you realize how expensive impatience is. Get rich quick thinking, panic during downturns, jumping between trends, chasing headlines, selling from fear, buying from envy. This is how working people donate returns to people with discipline. Quiet wealth builders sit through boredom, through ugly quarters, through market noise, because they understand that consistency is a form of asset control. If you cannot hold your position, you do not own the upside, you merely rent hope for a few months, and hand the gains to someone steadier. That is why education matters too, but not in the motivational sense. Not endless content, not just feeling informed, actual financial literacy that changes behavior. Reading, studying, asking better questions, understanding how money moves through taxes, accounts, markets, and contracts, because the person who stays uneducated pays tuition anyway, through fees, avoidable taxes, weak decisions, and years lost to confusion. So before we go further, ask yourself one blunt question. In your financial life right now, are you building ownership? Or are you just making yourself easier to skim? Wealth usually breaks long before people notice it. Not with some dramatic collapse, but with one random bill, one carried balance, one month where panic makes the decision. So if you want a practical reset, forget the big master plan for a moment and install one dull rule. Every payday before you do anything else, move a fixed amount into a separate emergency account and leave it there untouched. Not your checking account, not the same place your subscriptions can reach, or where your takeout and impulse clicks can reach. A different account, automatic transfer, same day, no discussion. The point is not motivation, the point is friction. Because debt often starts as convenience and ends as leakage. Silent millionaires are not allergic to credit cards, they are allergic to interest. They may swipe the card, but they kill the balance in full, before it starts feeding on them. And if they do use debt, like a mortgage, it is tied to an asset they expect to hold, and that can reasonably grow in value. Not to a lifestyle that evaporates the second the box is opened. That distinction matters more than most people admit. A financed house with a manageable payment is one thing, revolving consumer debt on dinners, gadgets, and I deserved this purchases is a completely different machine. So make the action embarrassingly small and mechanical. Set one automatic transfer that equals part of one ordinary expense, an expense you already waste without thinking. Then set your card to full auto pay. If full auto pay scares you, that fear is the signal, not the excuse. It means the real issue is not your income story. It is that your spending currently requires borrowed time. And that is exactly what this tiny system is designed to expose. 3 to 6 months of living expenses may be the destination, but the first win is much smaller, stopping the pattern where every surprise becomes a new balance. From there, the future gets less theatrical and more precise. You stop saying I want financial freedom someday, and start seeing the actual chain. No high interest drag, no emergency funded by debt, no forced selling of investments when life gets messy. That is how independence begins in real life. Quietly, on a Tuesday with an auto transfer no one applauds and a credit balance that closes at zero. If you had to pick just one leak to shut off this week, which one is costing you the most in silence? And this is the only promise that matters. If you do this right, your life should feel less trapped. Not more impressive, not richer for the camera, but safer in private. The real win is the moment a surprise bill lands on the table and your chest does not tighten. The rent clears, the insurance clears. The account doesn't go to zero because one bad week showed up uninvited. That is what quiet wealth buys first. Room to breathe. Forget the fantasy that money is supposed to turn you into a visible success story. The better outcome is much less dramatic. You sleep through the night, you stop negotiating with every grocery aisle. You can leave a job that is draining you because your survival is no longer hanging by the next paycheck. And if your income drops, your whole life does not collapse with it. That is the compounding effect people miss. And if one day you choose to give without needing applause. Let the receipt stay in a folder, not on a feed. Substance over display, security over performance. That is how wealth stays useful.